Hey guys, a big thank you to all of the questions that have come in, all the questions that continue to come in. I really want to kind of take a moment to thank all of you. They're always really kind of interesting, really wonderful, and importantly, they kind of, they stretch, the whole kind of intention of what we do. Was about kind of nurturing an ongoing development series, and your questions are kind of a key aspect to that. So I really want to thank all of you that take the time to kind of comment, send the most wonderful questions in. As much as I don't always have time to reply to each and every comment, I read them all, and that to me and for me that is really important, that I kind of just spend some time in doing that, and I really appreciate that. Really appreciate the time and energy that you kind of put into replying and commenting, and sending over the questions. So this week again, we have received a really thoughtful and thought-provoking question. It's one that I've sat with and just kind of listened to for the last few days. I've just returned from another weekend adventuring, another weekend kind of micro adventure, weekend kind of expedition, and during that time away, there was times where I was able to really reflect on this. So and we will be cutting a couple of videos today, this one on our weekly development, and also mirroring and part of our adventure series as well, so watch out for that, those of you that are interested in that side of what we do. So this question is coming from Angeliz Doyle via The Visit Between Worlds. So The Visit Between Worlds was a video that we put up last week, and this question is coming via that video, and Angeliz goes on to say, yes, a question. I've experienced this. Can a loved one manifest into a physical body just to say hello, or other beings of light? A young man standing in a bus booth said hello there to me as I drove past him. I could read his lips. Then he showed up 2 years later on a public transit to bring the answers to a question I was stuck on. I did not recognise him right away. It took 2 months to remember him from the bus stop. Much love. I love this question, and for me, there's a kind of wide answer to this. Can a loved one manifest into a physical body just to say hello? Now, this is the thing I kind of really believe, really kind of feel, and what I kind of sense from the innate, because quite often the answers that are kind of coming through, and this is really important, and this in a way starts to answer the question as well. The answers that come to your questions are not predominantly my answer. Okay, it's almost like I'm listening for the viewpoint, the opinion, the experience from the innate. Okay, and then that kind of gets stirred up within my own experience, and then we kind of share the answer. So this is how I kind of see this. This is how we see this, is that can a loved one manifest into a physical body just to say hello? Another way of looking at this is, I believe there are many people that subconsciously, unaware, are completely connected to the innate. I was listening to a lady say the other day, no matter where I go, and we're talking about bus stops, which is, I think it's, and I'm going to get onto that as well. It's one of those places, bus stops, trains, buses, that seem to kind of harbour many experiences. And we kind of look at the visit, how spirits turn up, the certain times they turn up, how about the certain places they also turn up, okay? And I think it's because, if we take kind of bus stops, this lady said to me, no matter where I go, bus stops in particular, she said, always find that strangers start talking to me. I don't know these people, but they naturally kind of gravitate towards me. There's almost like this magnetic kind of pull, it seems to pull them towards me. And they start opening up, they start sharing their lives, they start kind of, in a way, telling me many things that maybe the most closest and nearest and dearest people wouldn't always know, or wouldn't even would have kind of experienced with me, and she said, it's happened the whole of my life, it continues to happen. She said, but what I find interesting is that I seem to always have the answer, and I seem to be able to kind of help these people then go on their way, and in a way it's like something else has just clicked into place for them. I have a dear friend of mine that often says it's all about kind of leaving people in a better place than when you found them, and in a way this lady's doing that exactly. But I kind of believe that in a way, subconsciously, what she's not realizing is that there could be possibly someone on the other side of life that is just subconsciously for her just coming through and imparting the answers, imparting the information, imparting the kind of conversation, or stirring up the conversation to kind of, piece together the jigsaw for them. And I remember her saying to me, she said, one lady turned around and said, you know what, I don't know why, she said, but there's something about you that reminds me of my dear mum. And my dear mum's been passed now for about 8-9 years, she said, but there's something about you that reminds me fully of my old dear mum. Is it the mannerism that's coming through, or is it that the lady is subconsciously feeling the presence of her mum coming through this other lady? You see where I'm going with this, okay? And that's the other thing, is that subconsciously, if that kind of influence or that presence is kind of around that lady, because after all, it happens to her wherever she goes, okay? So wherever she goes, random strangers start talking to her. Is it that subconsciously those mannerisms are coming through? Is it that the innate and spirit are triggering those mannerisms, in a way trying to kind of, in a way, trigger the person that she's talking to? If you kind of look at it, that she turned around, this woman said to her, I don't know why, but there's something about you that reminds me of my dear mum, and my dear mum's been past 8 or 9 years now. There's something about you that reminds me of my dear mum. Is it that spirit are kind of triggering those mannerisms to trigger the contact? I think, that's quite profound. It's incredibly special, but it also shows us how subconsciously that information just flows through us. So those of you that are wanting to kind of develop mediumship, is know that subtle information, it's all about the subtlety. For her, this is completely subtle. It's unconscious, subconscious behaviour. It's subconscious information that's coming through her, which is exactly what spirit contact through a medium is. I'm always saying, because I kind of, nurture the holistic approach to mediumship, so it's therapy based, that I'm always saying that, all information's information, and it's about us becoming conscious of the subconscious thought, conscious of the subconscious feeling, conscious of the subconscious awareness and the subtlety within the contact, within the information. And then when you become aware of that, their voice becomes louder. You certainly then start to kind of work very much within partnership with them, because they know that you're going to spot it. And I think that's, just absolutely beautiful. So, my answer to Angeli's question Do I believe a loved one can manifest in a physical body? I believe a loved one can kind of influence the person here. You know, and we're talking about bus stops, okay? You know, if you kind of look at last week's video, this again is not by chance, it's by design. And I've heard so many people say about the odd encounters that they've had at bus stops, train stations, trains and buses. And I think it's because, you know, at a bus stop, what's happening is people are pausing in time, they're stopping. You know, it might be the only time in the day that they truly stop, you know, so there's this kind of sense of pause, there's this sense of stop. In a way, the innate says, right, okay, this is an opportunity. Because again, if we look at last week's video, so often people are moving through time, they are completely distracted. Maybe it is an opportunity to allow that information or that contact to happen. You know, there's something about it. Is it that we're slowing down? Is it because we slow down, we become reflective? You know, look, the next time that you're at a bus stop or a bus station or a train station or a train stop, is take a look around you. You'll notice that actually those people that are sitting there alone are either preoccupied on their phone, so they're just distracting themselves, or they're catching up, or they're busy with their work. But again, it's a form of distraction, it's a form of keeping busy. Or is it those people watch, and you'll see the other side of that coin is the people that are in a way daydreaming. Okay, those people that are almost staring into empty space. We're kind of slowing down, we're moving into the subconscious. So, you know, within that space is a great opportunity for spirit to kind of start making contact. Those could be the times, those could be the moments that suddenly you become aware of an answer. Suddenly it's like the answer to a question drops into your awareness. Or is it that you then start to turn to a random stranger and make conversation, or someone starts making conversation with you, and then those encounters happen? So do I believe a loved one can manifest in a physical body? I believe a loved one can influence those encounters. You know, and over time I've heard of many encounters that have happened either in bus travel or bus stops. As I said to you, you know, the lady said, you know, this lady turned around and said to me and said, you know, I don't know what it is about you, but you remind me of my dear mother, my dear mum, and my mum's been passed now 8 or 9 years. I think that's absolutely beautiful. Talking about other beings of light, I can remember, and this has got to be going back at least 24-25 years ago, and I was on a bus where this gentleman started to talk about the Native American Indians, and he said, you know, that they in a way they'd be returning, you know, and this was just a random you know conversation that this gentleman started talking to me, and you know, it was so surreal. In a way, I thought to myself, is this real? Because it was so surreal. And he started talking to me about the Native American Indians, you know, returning to take care of the land, take care of the earth, take care of the planet. And what he was saying was they're going to be returning in the generations to come. Now, here's my thoughts on that. All these years later, at the time I thought it's surreal. It felt a little bit kind of odd. It was a lot to take in. Okay, but absolutely, did it plant a seed firmly within my mind that never ever have I forgot, and in a way it's never gone away. Now, this is my thought on this. Is he said in the generations to come they are going to return. Okay, and in a way I took that as literal. But what I'm seeing now, if we could kind of look at the children that are being born now, and the children maybe that have been born in the last, definitely, 15, 20 years, definitely within these last 8, 9 years, last 10 years, is these children are having a completely different approach. Okay, they are having a completely different approach. There is more awareness, there's more kind of sensitivity to the environment around them. Many of them are becoming caretakers of the earth, caretakers of the world around them. Many of them indirectly have this affinity with the natural world. They're going off, and there's this surge in adventuring. There's this surge in the scouting movements. There's this surge in young kind of expedition leaders. What is it that's going on? In a way, the more time they spend within those environments, the more then they have a connection to those environments, the more they then naturally go on to care about them. It's not like they're kind of all walking around barefooted as such. They are indirectly, directly beginning to care about the environment because they get and feel such value from that time and those experiences within those environments. So is it that those children in a way are kind of, depending how we look at it and what we believe, is it that they're being kind of nurtured and kind of influenced from that kind of unseen? Those kind of energies are coming back to guide them, to kind of teach them, to kind of nurture their approach and attitude? Or is it that they are them? Is it that depending what we believe, if we believe that that we have multiple lives, that we don't just have one life, that it's lives within lives within lives, is it that they are them returning? There's so much that can be stirred up with all of this, and it's about kind of just exploring it, listening to it, feeling for it. How does that sit? How does that resonate? When that gentleman said that to me all those years ago, it was on a bus moving through town, what seemed to be like a normal day. As a good friend says to me, there are never ever ordinary moments. There's never nothing going on. There's always something going on. And this gentleman, turning to me and saying that in the generations to come, the Native American Indians are going to return. And he just randomly said that to me, sitting there kind of opposite me. Started talking to me and then said, randomly out the blue, in the generations to come, the Native American Indians are going to return. Profound. So, can a loved one manifest in a physical body? Just say hello. As the lady says, you remind me of my dear mum, and my dear mum's been past 8 or 9 years. In a physical body, just to say hello, or other beings of light. Okay. I hope you've really, really enjoyed that. I hope we kind of stirred up some thought, and my answer is yes, and in many ways. And as Angeliz says, that she did not recognise him right away. It took 2 months to remember him from the bus stop booth. There's never ever nothing going on. There's always something going on, and it's never random. It is always by design. Thanks, guys. As always, a real pleasure. Please do keep up the questions. Please do keep sending them in. Comment below. Those of you who are watching this via YouTube, you can find all my daily content, daily inspiration over on my Facebook page, which is Spirit Meets Adventure. Those of you that are watching this on Spirit Meets Adventure, there's a whole wealth of library of resources over on my YouTube channel. If you search Shane Gadd, And those of you that enjoy the adventuring aspect of what we do, you can follow us on Instagram, which is shane.gad. In the meantime, guys, have a wonderful day. Whatever you do, keep shining. Speak soon. Bye bye.